I'm Sarah Jane Guild and I'm a scientific consultant with AD Instruments. I'm going to show you how to use the configurator system, that's the configurator, and ConfigSoft to configure your Kaha Sciences telemetry system. The first thing that you're going to have to do before you even plug in your configurator to your computer is to install the drivers for the configurator. Once you've done that and you plug in the configurator, you should get a nice green light on the front to show that the configurator is communicating with the computer. Once you've done that, you can start ConfigSoft and away we go. When we open ConfigSoft, we come to a home screen and you can see we've got choices for the rack telemeter, the SmartPad, mouse telemeter or the T-Base, plus the Knowledge Center here, which takes you to a website-based Knowledge Center. If we start with the mouse telemeter tab, if we click on that button, we come to a new screen where there's 4 or 5 tabs across the top. Again, they correspond to the same as the buttons on the home screen. Rack telemeter, SmartPad, mouse telemeter, T-Base, and then the SmartPad status light information is also here. Under File, you've got options if you need to change the COM port setup, but that's very rarely needed, and you can also go back to the main menu if needed. And then if you need to know the version of your ConfigSoft, it's available under the Help menu. The first thing you're going to want to do when you set up your mouse telemetry system is to configure your T-Base and your telemeter to be communicating on the same channel. It's important that you change the channel of your telemeter first. All T-Bases and telemeters are shipped on what we call channel setup. So they'll both communicate on that frequency, but you need to change them to one of our other 40 communication channels to start your recording. The easiest thing to do is to place your telemeter on the T-Base, making sure you've got a green light showing that they are communicating, and then hit this button saying search for telemeter. You'll see a list of all the active telemeters showing up, and here we've got our telemeter on channel setup. So if we double click on that, it'll automatically enter the serial number and the current channel, which is set up, in the correct boxes. Then if we want to configure our telemeter to a different channel, for example channel 2, then we hit the go button. It gives us a warning suggesting that we only change the telemeter transmission channel when the telemeter is not implanted, and that's important so that the telemeter maintains power throughout the procedure. So if we click OK, it then just confirms that that's what we're doing. We're changing from setup to channel 2, clicking OK again, and it takes a moment to send the commands to the telemeter, reboot the telemeter. So the telemeter's channel is now set to channel 2. The telemeter can operate with the T-Base on channel 2. So now that we've changed the telemeter to channel 2, we need to change the T-Base to channel 2. So if we go to the T-Base tab, this time we can't search to see all the T-Bases because the T-Bases will only send data out when they are asked to. So we have to manually enter the serial number of the T-Base in this top box here. We can then search for the T-Base and it finds it on channel setup. And then we choose to change it to channel 2 and press go, confirm that that is indeed what we want to do. And while the T-Base is changing channel, you'll see the light flash red a couple of times before it then changes back to green to say it is communicating with a telemeter on channel 2. So now the T-Base and the telemeter are both communicating on channel 2, so the mouse telemeter can be implanted into your mouse and you can start your telemetry recordings. So both the mouse telemeter and the T-Base tab have the option to start diagnostics. If you start diagnostics, you get an option to save a diagnostics file or not. If you save the diagnostics file, the data is recorded to a text file which can be sent to your support representative for help with troubleshooting. But you do need to be aware that the diagnostics must be run for at least 2 minutes if you're going to do that. If you say no, it will just display the information on the screen. So in this case, for the telemeter, you see the serial number, the firmware version, and that everything checks out okay with the telemeter and that it's functioning. and similar with the T-Base. While you're recording telemeter diagnostics, the data recording through your acquisition system will continue, but if you're recording the T-Base diagnostics, you'll get a diagnostic signal out the back of your T-Base rather than your physiological data. So when we finish, we just stop the diagnostics.